All right, welcome back everyone for another deep dive. Today we're going to get into something pretty exciting.
Yeah,
Something that's really kind of revolutionizing how we care for our diabetic pets.
absolute.
And that is continuous glucose monitoring,
CGM?
CGM as it's known.
Yep.
We're going to be looking at excerpts today from continuous glucose monitoring in practice
Okay.
to understand exactly how CGM works and why it's such a big deal for dogs and cats.
Yeah, it really is a game changer, especially for those who've been,
Right.
managing their pet's diabetes the traditional way.
Yeah, no more pricking for blood glucose tests constantly.
Exactly.
But before we get into the specifics of all of that, I think it would be good to sort of break down what CGM even is and what it does.
Yeah, so at its core, CGM is a way to track glucose levels continuously.
Yeah.
But it's important to remember that it's measuring glucose in the fluid between cells, not directly in the blood.
Interesting.
So this is called interstitial glucose.
Okay, so it's giving us a slightly indirect
Yeah,
view of what's happening in the bloodstream.
correct.
So how does that affect what we see in the readings then?
Well, there is a slight time delay between changes in the blood glucose and when the CGM sensor picks it up.
Okay.
It's not a huge difference,
Yeah.
but it's something that, your vet will help you to understand
So-
as you interpret the data. It's kind of like if you think of a pebble being dropped in a pond, you see the ripple a
Right.
moment later.
Okay.
That's kind of how it is.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Now there are, I know, a few different CGM systems out there.
Yeah.
But we're going to focus on one in particular that's been making waves, and that is the FreeStyle Libre.
Yes.
So tell me, what's so special about this one?
So the FreeStyle Libre, or FGM for short,
Okay.
is just so incredibly user-friendly.
Okay.
It's just this little sensor. It's about the size of a quarter
Wow.
that you stick on your pet's back, and it just continuously monitors their glucose.
Okay.
And then you just scan the sensor
Yeah.
with a reader
Yeah.
to see the data. And you could even share that information with your vet.
Oh, wow.
So it's so much simpler than the old method of constant blood tests.
Yeah. I bet that's a huge relief for both pets and their owners.
Absolutely.
But what would you say, even beyond that, really sets the FreeStyle Libre apart from maybe some of the other systems that are out there?
So one of the biggest advantages is it doesn't need constant calibration like some other systems do.
Oh, okay.
You just apply the sensor and it starts working,
Nice.
which makes it much easier for owners to manage,
Yeah.
and it's more comfortable for the pet.
So less stress all around.
Exactly.
Now, I know there's two versions of the FreeStyle Libre, so what's the difference between those two?
So you have the 10-day sensor and the 14-day sensor,
Okay.
and they work essentially the same way.
Okay.
But the 14-day option obviously lasts longer.
Right.
The main difference is that the 14-day sensor takes a bit longer to initialize.
Okay.
It's about an hour, whereas the 10-day one is ready to go in about 12 hours. And then, of course, the 14-day sensor is a little bit more expensive.
So you get to choose based on your needs and your budget.
Exactly.
Okay, well, let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
Yeah.
How easy is it to actually apply this sensor?
So for dogs, it's pretty straightforward.
Huh.
You just shave a small patch of fur on their back, clean the area, and apply the sensor.
Okay.
Most dogs don't even seem to notice it's there.
That sounds much less traumatic than I was imagining.
Yeah.
What about our feline friends?
Right.
Are they as cooperative?
Well, cats, as we know, are a bit more
A little more particular.
independent.
Independent, yeah.
So they tend to be less tolerant of the sensor
Okay.
and will often try to remove it.
Yeah, I can definitely picture that happening.
Basically,
So what's the solution there?
you might need to use a special collar,
Okay.
like a kitty collar, to prevent them from messing with it,
Right.
which isn't ideal, but,
Sure.
it's often necessary to get those readings.
Okay, so let's imagine the sensor is on, it's in place, it's doing its thing.
Yeah.
What happens to all that data that it's collecting?
So that's where the magic really happens.
Okay.
You can easily transfer the data from the reader to your computer
Okay.
or even to the cloud using the FreeStyle Libre software.
Oh, wow.
This means you can share detailed reports with your veterinarian either through email or through the LibreView website.
That's very cool.
Yeah, it allows for much closer monitoring
Yeah.
and helps your vet make more informed decisions about your pet's treatment.
This is amazing. It sounds like it really empowers owners to be much more involved in their pet's diabetes management than they probably ever could have been before.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's get to the heart of it all. How is CGM actually being used to improve the lives of diabetic pets?
So one of the most impactful ways is when a pet is first diagnosed with diabetes and starting insulin therapy.
Okay.
So imagine your cat was just diagnosed. With CGM, instead of waiting weeks to adjust the insulin dosage, You could see how they're responding in real time.
Wow.
And work with your vet to fine-tune it within days.
Wow.
This could potentially lead to faster stabilization and fewer complications.
This is incredible.
Yeah,
This really changes the game for those really critical early stages of treatment.
it does.
Are there other situations where CGM is especially helpful?
Absolutely.
Hmm.
CGM is incredible at detecting hypoglycemia
Okay.
or low blood sugar,
Right.
which can be life-threatening if not caught early.
Yeah.
It acts as an early warning system,
Right.
alerting owners to potential drops in glucose before they become serious.
Wow.
Yeah, this constant vigilance can make a huge difference in a pet's well-being and provide much-needed peace of mind for owners.
Yeah, I can imagine that early detection feature just takes a lot of stress off of owners' shoulders.
For sure.
Are there other ways that it kind of takes this guesswork out of managing diabetes?
So it's also incredibly helpful for monitoring pets who have other health complications that can
Okay.
impact their diabetes.
Okay.
Things like hypercortisolism, chronic kidney disease,
Oh, wow.
or even certain medications.
Okay.
These conditions can make managing diabetes even trickier.
Yeah.
And CGM just provides that extra layer of insight
Right.
that helps vets and owners make the best possible decisions.
So it's all about personalized care, really tailored to each pet's individual needs.
Exactly.
What about owners who just want to be as proactive as possible?
CGM's a great option for those owners too.
Okay.
Some people just want to be as involved as they can
Right.
in managing their pet's diabetes.
Sure.
And CGM gives them the tools to do that.
Yeah.
It allows them to monitor glucose levels long-term,
Okay.
work closely with their vet, make adjustments as needed, and ensure that their pet is staying within a healthy range.
That long-term monitoring sounds fantastic, but I can imagine that some pet owners might feel like that's a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to those owners?
I mean, it's definitely important to talk to your vet
Yeah.
about what's involved.
Sure.
And whether it's the right fit for you and your pet. They can help you to understand the commitment involved
Yeah.
and provide guidance along the way.
Yeah, you don't have to go it alone.
Exactly.
That's reassuring. Now, I'm curious about the bigger picture. What does the future hold for CGM in veterinary medicine?
Oh, that's where things get really exciting.
Okay.
Early research suggests that CGM could do more than just manage diabetes.
Oh.
It could actually lead to more cats going into remission,
Wait.
meaning they might not need insulin anymore.
Remission meaning they might not need insulin anymore.
That's the hope.
Wow.
It's still early days, but the possibility is there.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and for dogs, there's evidence to suggest that CGM could help to delay or even prevent the development of cataracts,
Wow.
which is a common complication of diabetes.
That's incredible. So it's not just about managing the disease, it's about potentially preventing or even reversing some of the long-term damage.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it really paints an optimistic picture for the future of diabetic pet care.
For sure. But as much as we like to focus on the positives, I think it's important to acknowledge the challenges too.
Right.
And the study does touch on this a bit. Owner compliance. Can you tell us a little more about what that means and what that looks like?
Sure. As wonderful as CGM is, it does require, significant commitment from the owner.
Yeah.
Long-term use means applying new sensors regularly,
Right.
scanning the sensor often,
Yeah.
actively engaging with the data.
So it's not just a set it and forget it kind of thing.
No, we
It
call it
requires consistency.
consistency and dedication.
Yeah. And I can imagine for some owners that might be a hurdle.
For sure.
Life gets busy.
Absolutely.
It's easy for things to slip, especially when you're juggling so many other responsibilities.
Yeah, and that's understandable.
Yeah, it's important to be realistic about the commitment involved.
Yeah.
Are there any other potential challenges we should be aware of?
Of course, cost is always a factor.
Right.
While the FreeStyle Libre is more affordable than some other CGM systems, it's still an added expense that not all owners can manage.
Right, and not all pet insurance plans cover it,
Exactly.
which can make it a financial burden for some families.
Absolutely. Accessibility is key if we want to see the full potential of CGM realized.
Absolutely.
And hopefully, as the technology becomes more common,
Yeah.
the costs will come down and it will become more accessible to everyone.
Yeah, that would be a huge step forward.
It would.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive into CGM for diabetic pets.
We have?
We've looked at how it works, we've looked at the benefits,
Yep.
the challenges, and what the future might hold.
And we've only just scratched the surface.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In the next part, we'll dive deeper into the specific ways CGM is being used to manage diabetes in all sorts of different situations.
I'm excited.
Me too.
So, as we've seen, CGM gives us just this wealth of information about a pet's glucose levels.
Right.
But the real power lies in how we use that data
Right.
to create this truly personalized diabetes management plan.
It's not just about collecting numbers, it's about understanding what those numbers mean
Exactly.
and how they can guide us to make the best decisions for our pets.
Exactly. And the research actually highlights 4 specific situations where the FreeStyle Libre is making a real difference.
Okay, I'm all ears. Let's hear them.
All right, so the first one, and we kind of touched on this earlier,
Yeah.
is when a pet is newly diagnosed with diabetes
Okay.
and starting insulin therapy.
Right.
So the CGM data allows for much quicker and safer dose adjustments.
Okay.
So fine-tuning the insulin levels based on the pet's actual glucose readings.
So instead of doing it the traditional way of wait and see,
Yeah,
and maybe you wait weeks to adjust the insulin dose, here you're getting this real-time picture,
right.
and you can work with your vet to make changes much more frequently.
Exactly.
Wow.
And that can make a world of difference, especially in those critical early stages
Yeah.
when you're trying to stabilize your pet's glucose levels.
Yeah. It's like having a roadmap instead of just kind of wandering around in the dark.
Exactly.
Okay, so what's the second situation where CGM really shines?
So the second is for routine ongoing monitoring,
Okay.
particularly for pets who are prone to those scary drops in blood sugar,
Right.
which we call hypoglycemia.
Right.
So the CGM acts like a 247 guardian angel,
Wow.
alerting owners to potential drops in glucose before they become serious.
That's got to be such a relief for pet owners who are always kind of in the back of their minds worried about their furry friend having a hypoglycemic episode.
Yeah, and the beauty of it is that it allows you to intervene early
Right.
and potentially prevent a serious situation from developing.
Wow.
It's about proactive care rather than reactive care.
Yeah, this proactive approach seems to be a recurring theme
Is
with CGM.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the third situation you mentioned?
So the third is for pets who have other health conditions that
Yeah.
complicate their diabetes management.
Yeah.
Things like Cushing's disease, kidney disease, or even certain medications
Wow.
can all throw a wrench in the works.
So for these pets, it's like trying to solve a puzzle, but some of the pieces are missing.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
And CGM provides that extra layer of insight, those missing puzzle pieces
Right.
that help veterinarians and owners see the full picture
Right.
and make informed decisions.
So again, it's all about getting that personalized approach,
Exactly.
understanding each pet's unique needs and challenges.
For sure.
Okay, what about number 4?
So the fourth situation is simply for those dedicated pet owners who want to be as proactive as possible
Okay.
and monitor their pet's glucose levels long term.
Okay.
They might not have a pet with complicated health issues,
Yeah.
but they just want to be as informed and involved as they can be.
Right, so they want to be the super sleuths when
Yeah.
it comes to their pet's diabetes care.
Yep. And CGM give them the tools to do just that.
Right.
It empowers them to work closely with their veterinarian,
Yeah.
make adjustments, and ensure that their pet is staying within that healthy range.
Yeah.
It's all about taking control and being an advocate for your furry friend.
That's awesome. Now, I know you mentioned some really promising research
Yes.
about the long-term benefits of CGM.
Yes.
So can you tell me a little more about that? What's got you so excited?
So this is where things get really exciting.
Okay.
While more research is needed, early studies are hinting that consistent CGM use
Okay.
could actually lead to higher remission rates.
Wait, hold on. Remission.
Yeah.
You mean like
And cats with diabetes?
they might not need the insulin injections anymore?
That's the hope.
Wow.
It's still early days, but the possibility is there.
That's amazing.
And for dogs, there's evidence to suggest that CGM could help to delay or even prevent the development of cataracts,
Wow.
which is a common complication of diabetes.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
So it's not just about managing the disease, it's about potentially giving our pets a chance at a truly healthier future. This is really amazing.
And that's what makes this technology so revolutionary.
Right.
It's not just a monitoring tool. It's a beacon of hope
Yeah.
for our diabetic pets.
It really does paint this, like, optimistic picture for the future of diabetic pet care.
It does.
But as much as we love to focus on the positives, I
Right.
think it's important to acknowledge the challenges too.
For sure.
And the study does kind of touch on this owner compliance.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit more about what that means and what that looks like?
So, as wonderful as CGM is,
Yeah.
it does require a significant commitment from the owner.
Okay.
Long-term use means, applying new sensors regularly,
Right.
scanning the sensor often,
Right.
and actively engaging with the data.
So it's not just a set it and forget it kind of thing.
No, it requires consistency and dedication.
Right. And I can imagine that for some owners, that might be a hurdle.
Yeah, for sure.
Life gets busy. It's easy to let things slip, especially when you're juggling so many other responsibilities.
Right, and that's understandable.
It is. It's important to be realistic about the commitment involved.
Absolutely.
Are there any other potential challenges we should be aware of?
Of course, cost is always a factor.
Right.
While the FreeStyle Libre is more affordable than some other CGM systems,
Sure.
it's still an added expense that not all owners can manage.
Right. And not all pet insurance plans cover it.
Exactly.
Which can make it, a financial burden.
It can.
And for some pets.
Absolutely. Accessibility is key if we want to see the full potential of CGM realized.
For sure.
And hopefully, as the technology becomes more common,
Right.
the cost will come down,
Yeah.
making more accessible for everyone.
That would be huge.
It would.
Now, while we're talking about kind of the bigger picture here,
Yeah.
what about the research that's ongoing?
Yeah.
What are scientists still trying to figure out?
Yeah. So there's still a lot to learn. Researchers are continuing to explore the long-term benefits and potential risks of CGM. They're looking at everything from its impact on different breeds
Wow.
to how it can be integrated with other treatment approaches.
So it's an evolving field
It is.
with lots of exciting discoveries yet to be made.
Exactly. And that's what makes this such a fascinating area to be a part of.
Right.
There's a real sense that we're on the cusp of something truly transformative
Yeah.
in how we care for diabetic pets.
It's like we've opened this new door
Yeah.
and we're just starting to kind of explore what lies beyond it.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
And I think one of the most important things to remember is that while technology plays a crucial role,
Yeah.
it's the partnership between the veterinarian,
Right.
the pet owner, and the pet itself that truly makes a difference.
Yeah. It's a team effort.
It is.
And when everyone's working together,
Yeah.
that's when we see the best outcomes.
Absolutely.
It's amazing to think how far we've come in such a short time.
Yeah.
Just a few years ago,
I know.
the idea of continuous glucose monitoring for pets
Right.
would have sounded like something out of a science fiction movie.
Absolutely.
It's really incredible how rapidly things are advancing in veterinary medicine.
It is.
And it's not even just about the technology itself. It's
Yeah.
about how CGM is really changing the whole philosophy of managing diabetes
Right.
in pets.
Yeah.
It's like we've shifted from this reactive approach where we're always playing catch up
Yes.
to a much more proactive approach where we
Exactly.
can anticipate problems and address them
Right.
before they even arrive.
It is, instead of just reacting to a high blood sugar or a low blood sugar,
Right.
now we can actually see those fluctuations coming
Right.
and make adjustments
Yeah.
in real time.
It's about staying one step ahead.
Absolutely.
And that shift really empowers owners to be, much more involved and
Yeah.
informed partners in their pets' care, which has got to be a game changer.
Absolutely. When owners feel confident
Right.
and equipped to manage their pet's diabetes,
Yeah.
it makes a world of difference.
Right.
Not just for the pet's health, but for their overall well-being and
Yeah.
quality of life.
It's like we're creating this much more collaborative,
Yeah.
supportive environment for
Well-
everyone involved. The vet, the owner,
And the pet.
and of course the pet.
Yeah. And as CGM becomes more widely adopted,
Yeah.
I think we're going to see this ripple effect throughout the veterinary profession.
Okay.
It will raise the standard of care,
Right.
improve communication between vets and pet owners,
Yeah.
and ultimately, it will lead to better outcomes
Right.
for all diabetic pets.
It really is an exciting time to be a part of this field.
Oh, it is.
Who knows what kind of amazing advancements
Yeah.
are right around the corner.
I can't wait to find out.
Right.
Maybe one day managing diabetes in pets will be as simple as putting on this tiny sensor
Yeah.
and letting the technology do the rest.
That would be incredible.
It would be.
But even if we never quite reach that point, the progress that we've made with CGM already
Yeah.
feels like such a giant leap forward.
It is. It's given us this powerful new tool to help our furry friends live longer,
Right.
healthier, and happier lives.
Absolutely.
And that's something worth celebrating.
It is. And on that note, I want to thank you so much
Oh, thank you.
for sharing your knowledge and insights with us today.
It's been a pleasure.
It has been a truly fascinating deep dive into the world of continuous glucose monitoring for diabetic pets.
Yes, it has.
Yeah.
It's always inspiring to talk about such a rapidly evolving field
Yeah.
and to see how much passion there is for
Right.
improving the lives of our animal companions.
And to our listeners, thank you so much for joining us on this journey.
Yes, thank you.
We hope you've learned some valuable information and maybe even gained a new perspective
Absolutely.
on what's possible
Yeah.
for diabetic pets.
And remember, knowledge is power.
Right.
The more you understand about your pet's condition,
Yeah.
the better equipped you'll be to advocate for their needs and ensure they receive the best possible care.
If you have a diabetic pet, we really encourage you to talk to your veterinarian about CGM and see if it might be a good option
Absolutely.
for your furry friend.
And who knows, maybe the next time we do a deep dive on this topic,
Yeah,
we'll have even more groundbreaking advancements to share.
I have no doubt about that. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and give your
Yes.
furry friends an extra cuddle from us.